Hi everyone and welcome to Shot Cafe. Today we're going to finalize the Evil series because everyone got really depressed with this series. So today we're going to just give books and movies recommendations, and then we move to another topic next week. Okay, shall we start? The first book recommendation would be 1984 by George Orwell. Of course, many of you know this famous novel. It was published in 1949. And it was imagining the future of Britain in 1984 at that time. The author imagines Britain in 1984 after World War III, where everything is monitored, watched. It's a totalitarian system. There's a guy called Winston. He's an employee. He's totally against the system, but he doesn't confess that until he meets Julia and falls in love with her, and they start to have an affair, although it's not allowed in the system because all of the love that you have should be dedicated to the Big Brother, whose pictures are all over the walls, all over the place. And they start also to plan for a revolution against that system. Will they succeed? Just read the novel and discover that. Why am I recommending this book? This book talks about how people's ideas and behaviors can get affected by systems, the impact of systems themselves. And this is what Dr. Philip Zimbardo discussed in one of his books and one of his classes. Just read the book and let me know in the comments if you see that's relevant or if you have any further comments. The second book that I have to recommend is The Lord of the Flies by William Golding, published in 1954. This book is really important because it's a novel. It's a story about a group of boys who end up on a deserted island and they start to form their own communities. Why am I recommending this book? As you know, William Golding was trying to prove that everyone can turn evil, and it was the same theory that Dr. Philip Zimbardo was trying to prove in his book, The Lucifer Effect. So just read the novel and let me know in the comments if you like it or not. Just a small note. In one part of the book, Jack says that we are English and we should have rules and we are civilized or something like that, while Jack paints his face to show the barbaric side and so on. And I thought it was a little bit extreme and it shows kind of like white supremacy idea. So one thing that I didn't like the book very much, but overall it's a good book that I recommend everyone to read it. Let's move on to the movies. The first movie that I would recommend is Hotel Rwanda, released in 2004, about the genocide in Rwanda that happened in 1994, and it was one of the biggest genocides in the history, when 1 million people were killed in just 3 months. The story is about a hotel owner who lives a very normal life, and then suddenly the genocide happens when the Tutsis and the Hutus have a problem with each other, and then the Hutus start to attack the Tutsis and kill them one by one. So the Tutsis start to seek the hotel as a refuge, and the hotel owner tries as hard as he can to save their lives. Will he succeed? Just watch the movie and let me know in the comment if you like it or not. Why am I recommending this movie? This movie talks about the idea of otherness, how it affects people and make them turn evil by dehumanizing certain groups or ethnicities. When you dehumanize a certain group or ethnicity, that leads to a war, crime, or genocides and so on. And the history has a lot of examples on that. The other reason that I'm recommending this movie for is the use of media by the governments or certain groups. For example, in Rwanda, in Hotel Rwanda, the media was used by the Hutus to say that the Tutsis are cockroaches, they're after your women, they're after your jobs, and so on. And then this is what started the massacre, and people killed about 1 million Tutsis in just 3 months. So I would really, really highly recommend this movie, and let me know in the comments if you have seen any similar examples from your readings or from other movies. The other movie that I would recommend is the 2008 The Wave, released in Germany. This German movie talks about a group of students who try to implement an experiment with their teacher because they say in modern Germany, no way there are more Nazis, or Germany is not going to turn Nazi again. So the teacher says, okay, how about an experiment that we do? We have our own uniforms, our own slogans, our own logos, and our own form of greeting, and we call ourselves the Wave. Why am I recommending this movie? This movie talks about how groups' identities affect people's behavior, how rules become valid when they're cloaked with ideologies, how uniforms and titles affect people's behavior. And actually, it was praised by Dr. Philip Zimbardo in his book. So please watch this movie to find out more and see the connection. Let me know in the comments if you have watched the movie, if you have watched The Wave, if you have read the novels that we talked about today. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with the ideas, if you see that the ideas are relevant to the book that we talked about. And see you next week, and I promise we're going to talk about more delightful stuff. See ya.